Your money is worthless and it is designed to fail. How's that for an intro? Let's talk about the birds and the bees of money. Where did money come from? How have we lost over 90% of our money's worth? And why am I calling it money? Because it's really not money. I am going to give you the in-depth details about our currency, so please keep it locked. It's Crystal with the Cash Compass. Alright, welcome back. I'm here to teach you all the things that you should have learned in school about money, but for whatever reason, they forgot to mention it. Please be sure to subscribe because we talk about everything from personal finance to investing to the economy. Let's get into it. The dollars that we use is not money, okay? Money has certain properties, as you can see here. And what we use today for dollars can check off everything except the most important thing, which is a store of value. You'll hear the Federal Reserve on TV talking about, we're looking for 2% inflation. And that translates into, we want to make sure you lose 2% of your purchasing power every single year. When inflation is 2%, that means things get 2% more expensive year over year. And let's be real, there is no such thing as 2% inflation. I mean, because I don't know about you, but I've been spending way more than 2% year over year in my expenses. What we used to have was gold certificates. It looks extremely similar to the money that we have now, but before you could actually give that money in for real money, for gold, for precious metals. Now it's an IOU, and if you look closely, you can see these are Federal Reserve notes. Notes is a loan. A loan is an IOU, so this is not money. So like I said, our dollars were backed by gold up until 1971, where it was erased completely, and they were just kind of like, hey, print money out of nowhere, do what you gotta do. And why is that a problem? Before, you had to actually mine for gold. If you wanted money as a country, you had to go looking for it, go into the mines, pull out the gold, and when you had that gold, boom, you had money. Now that we don't have that system, they can just go over to their computer, type in a couple zeros, and boom, we have trillions of dollars. And that's quite literally how it happens. So what happens when you don't have to work for money? It loses its value. You can print it out of thin air. There is no work that needs to be done to get that money. It loses its value. But I'm gonna get more into that later on. So why is our currency designed to fail? We have what we call fiat currency. After 1971, when it wasn't backed by anything, that became fiat currency. It's based on your faith. It has value because we say it has value, right? Because we use it to transact, because we put value in it. Unfortunately, faith comes and faith goes. As you can see here, these are the list of fiat currencies that have failed. And just so you know, all fiat currencies have failed, and America will not be any different. It's just a matter of when, not a matter of if. Our dollars get created through debt and debt alone. Without debt, there is no dollars. Let me explain that. Money is borrowed into existence. Let's say we have 3 people in the world. There's me, there's you, and there's Sue. You need a loan. So you're gonna come to me, the bank, and you're gonna request a loan so you can go buy something from Sue. So now me, the bank, has created this $10 to give to you so you can actually use it in the economy. That money did not exist before. It was literally created at the bank. The banks are what really create the majority of our money. Federal Reserve has some part in it, but really it's the banks that go wild, okay? So back to the example. I have the $10. The $10 is in the world, right? But I'm not that nice, okay? I'm not just charging you $10. You're gonna pay me back plus interest. But what's the problem? Problem is we didn't print the interest. When I created the money at the bank, I only created $10, but you have to pay me back 11. So where are you gonna get that dollar from? You have to borrow that money. So then it's this never ending thing where you need to borrow more money to pay off the original because there wasn't enough currency created to cover the interest, okay? So let's say there was a situation where you owe me $11, but there's only $10 in the world and no one else is willing to loan you more money to get into more debt. Well, now whatever you bought, that's mine. And that's exactly what happens in this world, okay? When there isn't enough liquidity, which is what they call it, but there's enough debt being floated around, people will not have those dollars to pay off their debts and they end up getting their things snatched up. Think about foreclosures or think about your cars getting repossessed. So that's how money is created. We have the Federal Reserve, which can also print money, and they do that by buying up different assets from the government. So the government will say, hey, we need a loan, Federal Reserve, and the Federal Reserve will print this money out of nowhere, give it to the governments, and that's the other way that money is also created in the system. But like I said, the banks run rampant with it because of fractional reserves. And what are fractional reserves? I've explained this so many times in my channel, but fractional reserves is if I put in $100 into the banking system, the banks can now loan out $1,000. They don't have to keep all that money that they get deposited in there. It's called leverage. And it works until it doesn't, right? It works until people aren't paying their debt, people aren't paying their mortgage. It works until people are pulling money out of the banking system. So while it's working, they're gonna go ahead and loan my money out 10 times over. With the fractional reserve, the maximum requirement they needed was 10%. And guess what? The Federal Reserve just the other day said, you know what? You don't need any reserves anymore. So now they can turn $100 into $100 million. There's no stopping them. And to make matters even worse, it's like you're printing money out of nowhere, and for some reason I'm getting taxed on money that they created out of nothing that they don't have to work for, right? We work for our money. We go to work. We have to actually put in production, and that's where, to me, the real value is. The value is in the work that you're doing. So they've removed that from the equation for them, but not for us. So before, they had to actually go work for the money and go find the gold, but they don't do that anymore. Now they just kind of print or create money out of thin air, but we're still working. So you see there's a big disconnect. And then we're the ones producing the money, but we're still having to pay tax and we're still paying interest when these things were created out of nowhere. And because they're not putting any work in anymore, what's it to them to print more money? They don't care. They're just putting numbers in a screen. So they'll keep on doing that, and greed takes over. And then you reach a situation where you have hyperinflation because they've printed so much money. And I'm saying printed, but it's really digital money at this point. But they've printed so much money into circulation that it's a whole bunch of money chasing the same thing. That will drive the price up. It's supply and demand. And that's exactly what's going to happen with the stimulus package, which I go into great detail about how I think the stimulus package will affect the economy in this video up here. So click that for more. But these things will do more harm than good. So how can you protect yourself? This is why people invest, because if you keep your money just sitting in a bank, you are losing. You are a loser, trust me, because inflation is eating away at that, and then they're giving you laughable returns, okay, while they take your money and flip it. So that's why people go into precious metals and stocks and Bitcoin, because they're trying to find ways to actually preserve their wealth or even grow their wealth. I talk about cryptocurrency here, and I talk about gold in this video as well. I also talk about real estate. These are all assets that you can put your money into. In some cases it's tax havens, in some cases it's insurance hedges. So please click these videos and get more information and educate yourself. And I know it's hard to believe, but the dollar will reach a point where it's not worth anything anymore, and you don't want to be the person holding that money when it can't buy you anything. So you want to use the time that we have now to kind of put your money in assets that are going to protect you in the long run. Whew. All right, that is it. If you like this video, please like this video, share with your friends. This is so important because people do not know this. So I want you to spread the word. Do it right now. And if you're not doing anything else, you know what to do. Binge watch me. And until next time, keep your money up.